Magandang buhay! So, ang i-discuss ko naman sa inyo is yung mga klase ng numbers. Ang mga numbers natin ay classified into two. We have the real numbers and as well as yung imaginary numbers. Okay? So, sa real numbers, under the real numbers, meron tayong dalawang klase din, and that is rational and irrational numbers. So, kailangan nyo itong matutunan para masagutan nyo yung nasa activity nyo sa last, and para na rin dun sa magiging next lesson natin, which is yung sa nature of roots. So, you have to classify kung anong klaseng number ang given. Okay, so let's proceed. So, i-discuss ko sa inyo itong rational numbers and irrational numbers, which is under the real numbers. Okay, so ito yon. So, paano ko ma-distinguish or ma-identify if the given number is a rational numbers? Ito yung mga kailangan yung tandaan. So, a rational numbers, ito yung mga integers. So, ito yung mga yan. So, pag sinabi nating integers, ito yung mga negative numbers. Example ng mga negative numbers, negative 1, negative 6, negative 14, negative 19, negative 100. Ito yung mga negative numbers na whole number. Okay, so when we say whole, hindi sila decimal. Okay? So, and so on and so forth. And then, as well as yung zero. Ang zero is part ng rational number. And another thing is yung positive integers. So when say positive integers, ito yung mga counting numbers na nag-start sa 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, and so on and so forth. So ito yung mga merong positive sign o kaya kapag wala kayong nakitang positive na symbol or sign, understood that is positive. So mga whole numbers, usually itong mga to. Okay, so these are the integers. So, another thing, under rational numbers, ito yung decimals o kaya fractions. So, careful kayo dito sa decimal at saka sa fraction. So, kapag sinabi natin fractions or yung mga decimals, kailangan these are terminating. Sa decimal to, dapat terminating siya. Example nito, pag sinabi natin terminating, ito yung meron siyang katapusan. Example is yung 0.25, 0.5, 0.72, 0.8. Those are rational numbers. Okay? So, mga terminating decimal kasi sila. Okay? Next is yung non-terminating pero repeating decimal. Example ng non-terminating, ito yung mga walang katapusan. So, kapag kinuha mo yung decimal ng fraction na to, yung 1/3, you will get a 0.3333. Walang katapusan yan. Saka, kapag kinuha mo yan or sinode mo yan manually o kaya sa calculator, you will get 0.3333 and so on and so forth. Okay? So, kapag ganyan yan, non-terminating siya, walang katapusan, pero repeating siya, umuulit. So, kapag ganyan siya, understood, this number is a rational number. Okay, tandaan yon. So, ulitin ko, pag rational numbers, mga integers sila. So, para matandaan ko na integer siya, natatandaan nyo yung number line. Yan. Diba, yung nasa gitna is 0. Tapos, lahat ng nandito sa right side ay mga positive. Ito yung 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. At lahat ng mga nandito sa left side, mga negative. So, we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. So, lahat yan mga negative. Okay, so mga negative. Yan. So, pag ganito, tandaan nyo lang to, this is integer. Okay? So, next thing is, another is yung decimal o yung fraction. So, kapag may given kang fraction, like 1/4, kunin mo yung decimal niya para malaman mo kung ito ay terminating, non-terminating, and repeating. O kaya, may makukuha ka na mga irrational numbers. Later, i-discuss ko ano ang irrational number. Okay? So next is under real number, ito yung irrational numbers. So ito lang yung tatandaan nyo sa irrational numbers. Ito yung mga numbers na cannot be expressed in fraction. So ibig sabihin, decimal lang lagi yung makukuha mo. At yung decimal na yon, mga non-terminating, wala silang katapusan. Ayan. And non-repeating sila. So non-repeating, ito yung hindi sila umuulit. Okay, hindi katulad nitong kanina, yung 0.333, umuulit yung 3, tama? So, dito naman sa irrational, hindi sila umuulit. Example na lang is itong symbol na to, yung pi. Okay, yung pi, yung kanyang value is 3.1415926535 and so on and so forth. So, wala kayong nakita na umuulit. Tama? Example ng umuulit pa is ito. 0.45, 45, 45, and so on and so forth. So, kapag ganito yung nakuha mo, di ba umuulit yung 0.45? Ito ay isang klase ng rational. Pero ito, wala kang nakita na umuulit yung pattern. So, it means this is irrational. Kapag wala kang napansin na pattern niya, that is irrational. Okay, another example, yung letter E, which is the Euler's number. So, ito rin, it is approximately, ang value niya is 2.71828 and so on and so forth. So, yan ay considered as irrational. So, wala siyang pattern na umuulit. As well as yung square root of 3. So, kapag kinuha mo yung value ng square root ng 3, you will get this one, this value. So, this is also a non-terminating and non-repeating decimals. Just like square root of 2. Okay, so kunin nyo yung value ng mga yan sa pwede nyo isolve manually o kaya sa calculator. Para makita nyo kung ito ay irrational or rational. Okay? So, next is yung isa pang klase ng number which is the imaginary number. So, kung hindi siya real number, then pwede natin sabihin na that number is imaginary number. So, yung imaginary number natin, para ma-distinguish natin, ito yung symbol na ginagamit natin, which is yung letter I. Okay? So, ano yung mga imaginary numbers? Example ng mga imaginary numbers, ito yon. We have the square root of negative 5. So, yung radical mo is negative. Kapag square root yan, magiging imaginary numbers sila. Okay? So, another example is we have the square root of negative 4. So, this is also an imaginary number. And we also have 3i. So, I is an imaginary number. Okay, another example is 5i. So, imaginary number din siya. Okay, so now let's proceed on our examples. So, let us classify the following numbers as whether they are rational or irrational. Okay, so let's have number 1. So, yung given natin is 3.75. So, this is this is a rational number. Okay, rational siya kasi nga terminating siya. Hanggang doon lang siya sa 75. Okay? So, next is number 2. Number 2 is negative 25. This is also rational. Okay? Kasi yung negative 25 is an integer. Right? And ang integer ay isang rational number. So, ayan. Balikan nyo lang naman yung mga examples natin. Number 3, we have 462. This is also a rational number. Okay, so yung rational number natin, this is a positive integer. Okay, next is we have 2/3. So, yung 2/3, kunin natin yung decimal niya. Gawin natin yan. Divide natin. 2 divide by 3. So, we have 0. 0 times 3, that's 0. Minus natin 2. Then, maglagay ng decimal point. Bring down and add 0. Bring down 0, 20 divided by 3, we have 6. 6 times 3, that's 18. Minus natin, we have 2, another 0. So, same pa rin. 6, 18. As you can see, by pattern, umuulit yung nakukuha natin na 6. So, understood, 6 din na naman yung susunod dito. So, walang katapusan, that is approximately 0.6666. So, kapag ganito siya, this is under, yan, dito siya nag-fall. So, non-terminating and repeating, and that is a rational number. So, this is a rational number. So, next thing is number 5. We have negative 5.20. So, this is also a rational. Okay? So, paano kapag ang nakuha natin is a 3 a pi? Ang pi is, that is an irrational number. Okay? So, those are examples of rational at saka irrational. So, bibigay ko to as notes ninyo. Ipapublish ko to sa ating website. So, pwede nyong balikan itong mga to. Okay? That's it.